Hey guys, thank you so much for joining this podcast. For those who do not know me, my name is Arqam Cheema, your very own sales guy and the co-founder of Captains Limited. And today we have Victor Dwyer with us. Hi Victor, thank you so much for joining this podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Okay, so today's topic is all about Q4 and Amazon advertising. As you all know, that Q4 is just right next the corner, and we have to evaluate how to leverage it to the fullest. And today, Victor will be discussing all the Amazon marketing techniques that we can utilize to leverage Q4 to the fullest while saving ourselves from a lot of disasters that Q4 bring along with it. So let's just start with your introduction, Victor. What you do, how you can help us, and all those sort of things.
Yeah, no problem. I am the VP of marketing at Piranha. And
Okay.
basically, I got started in this whole journey I became a website developer. And then I eventually learned Facebook ads. And then
Mm-hmm.
basically, I got Facebook ads to Amazon. I learned that. And I had a bunch of clients that said, "Hey, Victor, I want you to learn Amazon too." I learned the
Mm-hmm.
Amazon platform, Amazon advertising. That's kind of my
Mm-hmm.
Amazon journey, how I got started into this. And
Mm-hmm.
then now I'm the VP of marketing Piranha, where I do conferences, podcasts, things like that. And we do
Mm-hmm.
account management, advertising, and all that good jazz. So that's how I'm here.
What Piranha is all about for those who do not know
They are
what
an
it does.
they're an Amazon agency, huge
Mm-hmm.
US based Amazon agency that basically just helps growing Amazon accounts.
Okay, that's cool. So let's just head to the topic. So as you know, the Q4 is just right up the corner. So how, let's say if I am a big brand, how can I leverage it? Because I still remember one of my brands which I'm managing right now, they were all set for the last Q4, but when it came, they went out of stock in between the Q4, and they faced a lot of problems and a lot of things. So what do you think? How we can stay in stock during the whole Q4?
Yeah. So first thing is that has been a huge game changer is inventory forecasting.
Yeah.
Historically, inventory forecasting has been very, very difficult because there's so many
Mhm.
variables. Like if you
Yeah.
were to look to historical data of last year's data of when to fulfill stock in, Prime Day number two, Fall Prime Day doesn't exist last year. So you can't
Hmm.
use historical data to really fulfill your inventory. And that's when you have to use all these variables. You have to
Yeah.
literally list all these variables when it comes to inventory forecasting. So far, I've seen So Stocked is that's a tool that's able to do the best like inventory forecasting that I've seen at
Okay.
least. That way, you can at least forecast when your inventory is going to go out of stock. Now it's going to be hard to predict how big Fall Prime Day will be,
Hmm.
and Black Friday and other things like that. But it's
Hmm.
really important to have that inventory forecasting in place for the FBA side. And I
Okay.
highly, highly recommend always having an FBM placement, a fulfilled by merchant on every single ASIN that you have on Amazon. So you're doing FBA
Okay.
and FBM on the same ASIN. So that way,
Hmm.
even when you're shipping products into Amazon and they take, instead of 4 weeks, it takes 7 weeks, that we've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
And it's really important. COVID taught us this lesson better than anything. Like
Yeah.
we can't rely on
Exactly.
Amazon fulfillment centers for our
Hmm.
inventory. We have to have
Hmm.
some type of 3PL to send out that products for us. So that way when we
Hmm.
are out of stock, we always have that backup method. And that way
Hmm.
you're not limited to Amazon's time scale because Amazon will take as long as they want. They can take
Yeah.
7 weeks, they can take 8 weeks. It doesn't matter to make your
Hmm.
inventory fulfillable. They will take a long time. So that's what I would recommend on the inventory side, having an
Hmm.
FBM strategy and having inventory forecasting. That's going to be the
Hmm.
best way to really prepare for this inventory because it's going to be a big problem in Q4.
Yeah, but at the same time, if we go for the 3PL services, 3PL services also like push up their rates in Q4 because they know that their warehouse is gonna fill up. So how we so for the extra inventory, so we have to just keep in mind that we are utilizing this just to sustain our ranks, or we have to make our 3PL order, our FPM orders profitable as well.
Correct. And that's more and more difficult, yes, but
Hmm.
the sales velocity that you lose from being out of stock is
Hmm.
so detrimental, meaning that if you're
Hmm.
making $100,000 on one product per month,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
and you go out of stock, and you go back into stock, you're not at that $100,000 mark anymore. You're going to be
Yeah.
at that 60 or 80 range, $80,000 a month. So that means you are losing between $20,000 and $40,000 per month for one
Yeah.
product. So
Mm-hmm.
the storage fees, yes, you're going to be less profitable on those products, and everything else. But
Mm-hmm.
the counter of that, of going out of stock, is so detrimental. Of you could have a huge decrease in sales from that $20,000 or
Okay.
$40,000 per month, to meaning
Mm-hmm.
that it's much more important to stay in stock. And Amazon algorithms, we've seen this, is if you don't have inventory that's even low on stock, even inventory that's
Mm-hmm.
low on stock, Amazon will start decreasing your page rank just to decrease sales momentum, so that way you go out of stock a little less faster. So
Yeah.
having that stock already in there, Amazon will never bring your page rank lower, even if you're low in stock. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an important concept as well, is having a not only being in stock, having high inventory in stock, so that way you stay
Mm-hmm.
high up in the search rank as well.
I can back this fact because in we are running some brands in the Canadian market, and this is happening to us often because there's a limitation there. And whenever we are like below 20 units, Amazon just directly ships our whole inventory in the reserve section, and all of our sales are like drop rapidly. So let's come to the next question. What do you think about recession? Recession. How badly would recession impact the Q4 sales? Or would people just keep on buying stuff?
So there's no doubt that we are in a recession right now.
Yeah.
Like if you just like look at the stock market, if you look at like a lot of other variables,
Mm-hmm.
inflation, just everything that's happening, supply chain, like at all these different things, there's no doubt that
Mm-hmm.
we are in a recession right now. But when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to Amazon sales, we haven't
Okay.
seen, like, for example, Prime Day was huge. So
Yeah.
I think with the recession, there's going to be more discounts during Q4. Like it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be a lot more heavily discounted Q4 for
Mm-hmm.
sure than it was last year. But
Okay.
we're gonna see. I don't think it'll impact sales as much as people think. I
Mm-hmm.
think that the cost of goods and inflation is going to be a much bigger factor than the
Mm-hmm.
recession, because people are still
Mm-hmm.
going to want to buy these things that are a percentage off. I think it's still going to be we're still seeing growth month over month on a lot of
Yeah.
clients. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing that be too hurtful. It's mainly inflation of the rising prices and things
Mm-hmm.
causing like a more decrease in sales more than the actual recession, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
is, and I think that's the biggest factor there.
You have discussed the pricing point. So I have like a question here. Everything is like the prices are increasing everywhere, real estate, each and everything. But why not Amazon? Like the products which were being sold like for $10 6 months back, they are still being sold at that same figure, maybe a few cents higher. So why people are not making this marketplace less competitive?
Because everyone's afraid to.
Yeah.
Everyone is afraid to raise their prices because
Hmm.
all their competitors are also keeping the same price. It's kind of
Hmm.
like a standoff almost. Like who's going to raise their prices first? Because
Hmm.
Amazon is such a competitive market that if you raise your price even a little bit, that can
Hmm.
like make it where that's the decision making of basically buying one product over the other. So
Hmm.
it's really important to have that price competitiveness within
Okay.
there. And you can still
Hmm.
do automated pricing to find the best balance of like sales and raising your price and things like that. But
Hmm.
it's really important that, yes, that you raise your prices a little bit to basically A/B test it, but also not to be afraid to raise your prices.
Hmm.
But it's if once you start going like 20% or more above all of your competitors, then you have
Okay.
something to worry about. Anything more than 20% of everyone else, that's when
Hmm.
people start making that decision of, hey, maybe I'm just going to go with the lower price product.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't be afraid to raise it about 20% or in that 20% range, because you're going to have to make up some margin in there unless you're just in a really competitive market. But
Hmm.
unless you're playing the repeat purchase game. So it's one
Okay.
thing if you're talking about like one-time purchases, like a portable battery or a watch, whatever it may be. This is a one-time purchase product. I'm never going
Yeah.
to buy, most likely, this one's broken. So I actually do have to purchase multiple of these. But
Yeah.
for another product like a Powerade, for example, I
Mm-hmm.
need to purchase multiple of these every single month.
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
if that's the case, I am trying to get that customer once and I'm trying to get them to repeat purchase after that. So if that's the
Mm-hmm.
case, then keep your price on where it is. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you match it, and then you can spend a lot on that up front, because you may spend like for to sell a $10 product, you may spend $30 to sell your $10 product,
Yeah.
but the repeat purchase of me buying this Powerade for 3 years straight, that's gonna be I'm gonna have over $1,000 customer lifetime value because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's if you have a repeat purchase product, keep your price the same, is what I'm saying. If you have a one-time purchase product, don't be afraid to raise that 20% or more, so that way you can at
Mm-hmm.
least counter the inflation and at least make some margin back.
Don't you think it's also a good way to increase those subscribe and save people? Because let's say there would be like 3x more or 4x more sales. If I drop my prices a little bit, I can secure more overall like subscribe and save people. And after the Q4, it can help me in sustaining my overall revenue.
Correct. And I always recommend having some type of customer acquisition product, meaning that, like, for example, like selling a single Gatorade is going to be like
Mm-hmm.
$3 and you're going to make no money off of it. Like, there's going to be no way you can possibly, you might make like 20 cents if you're lucky. And
Mm-hmm.
that this would be my customer acquisition product of I'm just trying to try this Powerade right now because I just want to see how it is. Okay. I want
Yeah.
to see if I like the flavor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I like the flavor, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a 12 pack of this once I like it. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically break even on your customer acquisition product just for them to try your product. Okay. Super cheap product. And
Mm-hmm.
then have a more larger pack size where your margins are really good. So once I buy the
Mm-hmm.
12 pack, I'm paying, let's say, $20 for that. And now your margins are super healthy on that
Mm-hmm.
$20. But it's really important to just like go through that process. It's and break even on your first customer acquisition product, and then on your bigger variety packs where people will subscribe and save, they're going to be
Mm-hmm.
buying that 12 pack every month. So now you're making healthy margins, everything's good there. So on when it comes to prices, your customer acquisition product should almost break even almost every time. And then on
Mm-hmm.
your higher pack size, then that's where you make some healthy margin on your lifetime value. So that's what I would recommend when it comes to prices, having a very low
Mm-hmm.
customer acquisition product.
It's a great strategy, but at the same time, it's hard to convince your clients or the brand owners about this strategy because when it comes to like off Amazon clients, you can teach them. They understand this point. Because they know the first thing is like the overall customer acquisition cost, but the second thing is they would start getting repeat orders, and that's like free. Which is why there's a study that majority of the companies they spend more. Like whenever you are turning off subscription for any company, like Loom, Zoom, any company, they would
Yep.
give you discount because it costs them more to get a new client. So they just try to reduce the overall or the current pricing or giving them discounts. So in case it can retain them, right?
Yep.
So I have a question. So the CPC would shoot up as well, and we have already seen the little bit changes in them. So even with high CPC, what strategies we can utilize to stay profitable? If it's like driving external traffic, or what do you think? What's the best option here?
So it's really important to realize that there is a bidding system for each format on Amazon. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, sponsored product is the easiest thing to set up. So you instantly know that you should probably be testing something else besides sponsored product ads. Um,
Okay.
and like sponsor brand video ads, those kill it right now.
Mm-hmm.
More and more people are doing it, so this cost per clicks are going up for those now. But there's two
Okay.
formats that have really been working lately for clients: is
Mm-hmm.
sponsored product targeting ads,
Mm-hmm.
and also sponsored display audience ads. Those two formats have been working really, really well when it comes to ACOS and having really good CPCs on those. Those have been
Mm-hmm.
really driving down because they have different bid levels, and very few people are doing it right now. Now in
Mm-hmm.
Q4, that might completely flip, and everyone might do that. Like, and let's say
Yeah.
every Amazon seller heard me say that, and they all start going toward it. Now it's going to be the opposite. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's really important to make sure you have some type of dashboard. You're analyzing these things, on a
Mm-hmm.
weekly basis and saying, hey, this format is working best. I'm going to start pushing more, allocating more budget to that instead.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do the easy cookie cutter solution of just being in sponsored product ads. Then your cost per click is going to naturally go up. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do these other formats and test all these other things that are working right now and going and pushing that instead, your cost per clicks are
Mm-hmm.
going to be dramatically lower. Like, for example, sponsor display video is coming. So if I
Mm-hmm.
having videos in sponsor display, test it when it comes out because no one else is going to be testing it as soon as it comes out. The cost per clicks are going to be super low when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the answer to it is to constantly test and test out these other formats rather than just using the standard sponsored product ads. So that way you can
Mm-hmm.
actually lower that cost per click than rather just pushing it the same way as everyone else does.
Okay, so yesterday it's like super, I guess. So yesterday I was on a call with one of my brand managers. My brand owner has like hired Amazon as their advertising manager, and she gave me the same strategy. And she said that you have to utilize it so you can leverage all the Q4 and achieve your goal. And now I'm thinking that we are not the only one who has hired her. So all the big brands who have like taken Amazon services, they're going to give all of them the same strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So all
But
it's the same niche, like the big niches like supplements and groceries, they're gonna use this for sure.
yes, but keep in mind most Amazon's like account managers suck. Like in the fact that like their only goal is to get you to spend as much money as humanly
Yeah,
possible, and
don't say that loud.
they don't care about making you money. So the reason why she said that is so that way you spend as much more money on all these other
Hmm.
formats. But my goal is
Yeah.
to make you money. So
Hmm.
like what I'm saying is test out these other
Hmm.
formats. Don't spend a
Hmm.
bajillion dollars like they're going to recommend, but
Hmm.
test out the formats, see what your ACOS is, your advertising cost of sale is, and
Hmm.
see and break it out per format, and you'll
Hmm.
see which ones are going to be working and which format's going to be working best for you.
Okay.
And it's really important to have some type of dashboard because Amazon does not make reporting easy. You have to go in 17 different, you have to download like 17 different reports, look at it
Hmm.
all different ways. I recommend always having some type of dashboard in there to
Yeah.
analyze and look at so that way you kind of know what's working and what's not on a weekly basis rather than spending all your time just downloading reports every single
Hmm.
week. I recommend having a dashboard of some kind.
Okay, so if you mentioned the point that they just want us to spend more. Actually, we received a recommendation of spending 50K more, 15K more
Yeah.
per month after the recommendations. And most of the time, I have noticed this. They barely know like how to utilize the advertising manager, advertising console. So they barely know that. But what to do is they just tell you you can do this. They shoot up the notification section, make some recommendations there, and they will tell you that they will just consult with other higher level Amazon managers, and in the next meeting you can discuss all of those stuff. But at the same time,
Yeah.
the next meeting would be the same as well. No sharp numbers, nothing too advanced. Just everything is simple, basic. But in the end, they will tell you to spend this extra higher amount
Yep.
for the next 3 or 4 months, so you can sustain that. In the end, you would be the one responsible for spending that much amount, and Amazon would be long gone. Okay,
Yep.
so we have a couple of questions here. Let me just highlight them. We can just question them one by one. Okay, I have a question: How to run the PPC of brands with multiple markets, huge number of SKUs without going out of stock on any of the SKUs? Ooh.
So, the best tool I have seen that does this really well is
Mm-hmm.
Kpop. This
K-pop.
tool basically will make recommendations saying, "Hey, this SKU is out of stock." Like when it comes to inventory,
Mm-hmm.
that's up to the client. So, like actually staying in stock, Kpop will help them stay in stock as well. But
Okay.
when it comes to not spending any more on the ads that are out of stock, K-pop does a really good job of saying, "Hey, this SKU is out of stock. I need
Mm-hmm.
you need to turn it off," and it will make that recommendation. So that way, you're not spending money on SKUs that are out of stock. So
Mm-hmm.
that's valuable. And what's also cool is it'll tell you how much sales they're missing from being out of stock from sales velocity. So say if you're
Mm-hmm.
making $1,000 a day on this one
Mm-hmm.
SKU, It'll
Okay.
tell you, hey, you've been out of stock for 10 days. You missed $10,000 in sales. And what I do is I
Hmm.
send that to the client saying, hey, it'd be awesome if we stay in stock because this is $10,000 worth of sales we would have gotten. And they
It
look
makes
at
me
that,
feel great.
then they go to the logistics person and say, hey, what the heck? We just lost $10,000 worth of sales. And now they're much
Hmm.
more inclined to really
Hmm.
stay in stock. So
Hmm.
that's what I thought was valuable. So when it comes to providing that information to the client, I say, hey, this is, and it makes it where they're more motivated to stay in stock when you give them real numbers, and they
Hmm.
give you the recommendation of automatically turning off those things once you do go out of stock. So that's the
Okay.
recommendation I would make on that.
Cool. Cool. Okay. So the next question is: the Canadian market still has the inventory limits in place. How to leverage the Q4 while being stuck with these limits?
Mainly, mainly using 3PLs is the best way. Kind of gotten around the huge inventory limits in place. Um,
Hmm.
Most of my clients haven't had huge velocity in Canada. It's
Hmm.
mainly like European markets where they have the most success because Canada is just a really big country in general. So that's awesome that they are having sales and obviously within Canada. But
Hmm.
most of it, I would have recommend like having some type of 3PLs in place. And I know
Hmm.
that's going to be a little bit more expensive, but in order to take over those take over that inventory limits, you have to have a 3PL strategy, an FBM strategy, in order
Hmm.
to counter those inventory limits. That's all you can really do at the end of the day.
Okay. So, but do you think how much increase in sales velocity do we need to like Amazon increase that limit?
So there's usually four factors when it comes to like increasing the limit. It's
Hmm.
your like in stock capabilities. It's
Hmm.
your sales velocity is number two, and
Hmm.
then like just other quality scores that I totally forgot of what it actually is.
Hmm.
But sales velocity is one of the biggest factors in that,
Hmm.
and it really depends on their fulfillment centers at the end of the day. We've had a client where we dramatically increased their sales velocity, but they would still
Okay.
give us super, super small inventory limits because their warehouses are so packed. So at the end of the day,
Hmm.
I would recommend increasing sales velocity, but at the end of the day, it's basically based off their Amazon fulfillment centers and how much they can actually take. So
Hmm.
if they're super packed and super things, they will not let you send in very much inventory, no matter how much you increase your sales velocity. So that's why I'm recommending
Okay.
the 3PL strategy than waiting on Amazon to get their crap
Hmm.
together because it usually takes a long time.
I guess in this Q4 they won't be increasing it further because they would already be packed up. And I guess last year they sent out a notification that after December they won't be taking more inventory. So I guess this year is going to be happen the same thing, because I believe another thing is that people are holding themselves back from purchasing too much because they're waiting for those big sales, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and other sales as well. So the sales gonna be huge, and Amazon is making sure that they are not like taking too many inventory in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the next question we have: in Q4, biz goes high. We have already answered that. This is a time when Amazon sellers buzz with excitement as there is so much movement. Q4, an ideal time when sellers can take is as much as possible in the sales as during the rest of the year combined. Good. It's just an appreciation, I guess. Okay. I've got two questions. How to grab our chunk in Q4, where mostly sellers decrease their price, have edge of prime eligibility, and some big names in our niche. Any SOPs to follow?
Um, how to grab a chunk of Q4 where most sellers are decreasing their price. Like obviously the most common answer is going to be like make sure you if your price is like more than 20% higher, make sure you
Mm-hmm.
have some type of coupon on it of some
Mm-hmm.
type so that way you at least get the green badge on it.
Okay.
And then from there make sure you have this your product page has the appearance of a premium product. So
Okay.
it's really important to have those infographics within there. So at least tell them why your product's unique, and tell
Mm-hmm.
that story. And also doing sponsor brand video ads. Usually, sponsor brand video ads at anywhere between a 20% and 30% conversion rate. So if you are a premium product that has a higher price point, sponsor brand video ads are going to be your best placement. So it's a little bit harder to push, but you're going to have to go that strategy and A/B test different videos if you are at a higher price point. So that's what I would recommend when it comes to having that higher price point.
Okay. The second question is, what would be the strategy for gift keywords as they come handy while grabbing sales in Q4?
First of all, make sure it is a gift related product, number one. Um, and then second, make sure it's the right audience that you're targeting. So don't do like general gifts for, like I would do like gifts for dads, gifts for brothers, like going toward like that specific audience, because the other keywords like gifts for mothers, if it's not for like if it's not for females, you don't want to be bidding on those keywords because those cost per clicks are crazy high.
Yeah.
So I recommend make sure it's the right audience, number one, and then negativing out on when it comes to those gift for keywords. That's really important to make sure you're negativing the right things and targeting that specific audience on those, because those cost per clicks are crazy high.
Yeah, I guess the Q4 is going to be like a tough time for the advertisers as well, because they have to stick to their computers 24/7 to save those extra bucks, because even one click might be a couple of five, six, seven, $8. So yeah, best of luck, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. For testing the SD campaigns with the goal to dominate, what bidding strategy do you suggest? Up and down, or fixed?
I would recommend probably up and down. If you're trying to, if with your goal is to dominate, your goal is going to be basically to go up and down type of bidding. I usually use some type of bidding optimization tool anyway. They're really cheap, most of them, and they're going to do this process for you most of the time. And most of them can do some type of sponsor display most of the time. So I would recommend using some type of tool automation in this to make it where if you get sales, up the bid, if you don't get sales, decrease the bid type of thing.
Okay.
And that's what I would recommend by using some type of bidding optimization tool.
Any tool that you can recommend?
If you're just trying to get some cheap automation tool, I would recommend like IntentWise, KPOC of some type. And if you want to use like some really in-depth tools, you can use like Ad Badger. You can use and if you want to get like really in depth, you can go to the Quartiles, the Perpetuas of the world, but those are just crazy expensive, to be honest. I never see the ROI that's worth paying that much for a tool. So I recommend not paying any more than $100 to $200 a month. And you can also use the Solozos of the world to optimize the bid, but you should not be paying more than $200 per month on your ad tool, because at the end of the day, all these ad tools are going to say, we use a proprietary AI and we're so good at what we do. At the end of the day, there's bid optimization tools. If you get sales, up the bid. If you don't get sales, decrease the bid. That's all they do at the end of the day. There's other fancy crap that they do, but if you really just want to get the most out of it, you can just use any tool to get these bid optimization tools.
Actually, we were using IntentWise for one of the big brands. It was making like $4-5 million a year. It was like a disaster. All it could do was just lower it down, high it up, lower it down, high it up, and that's it. So the client was losing a lot of money, even with a lot of money spent, even with a lot of history. The tool was doing nothing. After connecting with all of their customer support, what we can do, after guiding a lot of stuff, still it was not that much profitable. I know it's cheap, but at the same time, it was like taking a lot of our overall ad spend. And secondly, we might be having Michael from Ad Badger in the upcoming episodes. Maybe we can get some sort of a coupon code from him to utilize his tool as well.
Yeah, he has a really, I watched a demo on his is for the super in-depth PPC, like super in-depth PPC person. Like that's what his tool is designed for. So if you want like full control, usually these tools are plug and play, meaning that you press a button and then it does its thing. That's what 90% of these tools do. But he has a very in-depth tool. It's built for like the PPC optimization person to basically go through and optimize that process and really have a lot of control of your ad campaigns. I forgot what the tool is called, but just Michael from Ad Badger. His tool should pop up somewhere in there. I forgot what it's called, but it's a really cool tool. So if you're wanting to really optimize your campaigns, I highly
Hmm.
recommend doing that.
Okay, so we have a question from Daniel. Victor, while doing profit calculation of product, which multiple factors you take into the account, like the CPC, product return cost, etc., we can have a quite precise profit margin and then take decisions accordingly with better accuracy.
So we do a profit and loss statement every month at the overall
Mm-hmm.
account level,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we our basic thing is what we go off of. As long as you have a more than a 30% cost, 30% margins, so that way
Mm-hmm.
like a 70% cost of goods. From
Mm-hmm.
there, once you realize that, you have a lot of leverage to play with if you have a repeat purchase product. So that's
Okay.
where we shoot for that 30% repeat customer repeat purchase rate on each
Mm-hmm.
product. And once you have a 30% or more repeat purchase product rate, from
Mm-hmm.
there you are able to make a lot of money. Meaning that if you get 100 customers a month, 30 of them
Mm-hmm.
repurchase every month. By the end of the year, you're going to have 300 people per month buying your product.
Okay.
So that makes it where you can be very profitable pretty quick from that lifetime value. But if you have a one time purchase product, that's going to be very
Mm-hmm.
difficult where you do have to have analysis of like how much you're getting if they only purchase once.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, um, you will have to do a precise profit margin analysis, P&L, to do see how much you're making if it's a one-time purchase product, but you don't have to worry about it as much. It's if it's a repeat purchase product. Is
Mm-hmm.
kind of where I'm going with that.
Gotcha. So another question, is it worth enough to use season or holiday keywords in our listing to drive more? Yeah. So now can we utilize these same holiday keywords in our listing front end as well to increase our ranking? Would that be a wise option?
Um, I I rarely it's very difficult to rank for those keywords because of how much cost per
Mm-hmm.
clicks are how crazy high cost per clicks are on those particular
Mm-hmm.
keywords. It's very difficult to rank organically because of how much sales velocity changes on those
Mm-hmm.
keywords. So for example, if like let's say that it's Christmas gifts for dad, okay? For
Mm-hmm.
like just for that one, so many people are gonna like go to the bottom of the page seeing like okay they're just like browsing their gifts for dad, and you might be like on page two, and like, all of a sudden like a million people start buying that gift because it's a really good product for their dad, and
Mm-hmm.
there's gonna be a lot of sales velocity on that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's gonna be a lot of momentum changes rather than
Okay.
being like a normal like dog toys. Usually, for dog toys, those products will mainly stay around the same thing. So if it's organic rank one, they might go to three, they might go back to one. It's going to be there's not a lot of velocity there. But on these
Mm-hmm.
Christmas gifts for dads, those are going to be bouncing. Like you can go from page three to page one to page three. Like those are crazy momentum changes. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, you could, but at the same time, like you're not going to get a lot of momentum. You're gonna get a lot of momentum changes that ranking
Mm-hmm.
for those keywords aren't going to be as valuable as like ranking for dog toys or something else like that, where
Mm-hmm.
where the momentum's a little bit more stable.
Gotcha. Okay. So in order to increase the bucket size, how to leverage upselling on the frequently bought together products or other relevant products?
So you can manipulate that if you really wanted to, but the
Mm-hmm.
best way is probably virtual bundles. The virtual bundles will like have like an entire like row below
Mm-hmm.
it where you'll actually be able to sell like variety packs of your products. Variety packs are the hottest things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
If you sell like different like for Powerades, you can sell like a blue, red, and green Powerade all in one, and
Mm-hmm.
that way people can test out each flavor and buy the big packs of whatever flavor they like. So
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend using virtual bundles if you can. If you are using FBA, it's very easy to set up, and like they usually will have some type of momentum. They don't rank very well in search results or anything else like that, but they will
Yeah.
populate on below that bar that is a
Mm-hmm.
lot bigger than the frequently bought together. So I
Okay.
would recommend using virtual bundles if that's the case.
Okay. I also seen like a couple of people doing the SN targeting on their own same listing with their virtual bundles. So they are the only one who's like populating their own listing. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's also an option which you guys can utilize. So I guess this is it. These are all the questions we have. So we can just wrap up the whole podcast. Before going up, do you have any other information or strategies to share with the audience?
Um, basically, if you're, it depends. Trying to communicate to the seller. If they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
be a seller, then Amazon ads are the way to go. But if they're trying to be a real brand, that's where external traffic comes into play, where
Mm-hmm.
they can start producing TikTok content to really starting to have that brand recognition. I've had
Mm-hmm.
clients that literally went from had one viral TikTok and got $20,000 increase in sales in one day just from a
Okay.
random viral TikTok. That's how
Okay.
crazy external traffic is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's from people just leaving and going to buy on Amazon. So
Mm-hmm.
it has a lot of momentum. I think every seller should be using Google Ads to Amazon through Amped. I think almost all sellers should be utilizing that of some type to basically make sure you get the most sales velocity you can. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually a good fit, especially as cost per clicks rise on Amazon advertising. I highly
Mm-hmm.
recommend using Google Ads because Google Ads have half the cost per click right now. And
Okay.
then if you have a convenience based product, like people that where Amazon is very difficult to sell convenience based products that you have to inform the customer of what the product is. For example, when I look at this
Education
watch,
based.
when I
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what this watch does, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to inform me of what the watch does. It has heartbeat tracking. It has I can view apps on it, whatever it may be. I have to
Mm-hmm.
learn what this watch does, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where you can teach them. And it's very difficult to sell this type of product on Amazon
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
it's very difficult to discuss. You can only do that through sponsor brand video ads, and that's about it. But
Okay.
if you do have a convenience based product, then you can show this through TikTok ads. You can show this through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and really show YouTube ads even, and show them what your product does, and then send them to
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, where Amazon has a 15 to 20% conversion rate, where they already have their order information filled, which it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense to send them to Amazon. So
Yeah.
that's what I would recommend if you do have a convenience based product like this.
Yeah, you need a lot of patience for such products because I have seen there are some Shark Tank products which are selling like insanely on their own website. When you look at them on Amazon, they barely have like some reviews. So that's a problem because most of those products are like newly concepted products, and you have to educate a lot to the consumers to make them buy the product. So
Yeah.
I guess this is it. Thank you so much for joining this podcast. We'll be having you again soon. So yeah, bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.